Hey guys, Nate Bailey here. I'm going to give you today 3 tips to help you with your instinctive archery and why I think it's something that you should add to your barebow traditional bow hunting game. All right, stay tuned. All right, guys, the reason that I like instinctive archery for hunting purposes is it's one of those things that ties us back to our ancestors. For one thing, we are given everything right here. Everything that I need to go hunt something or to provide for myself is right here. Matter of fact, I could actually go and make my own bow and arrows and quivers and things like that, and I could still use everything that I have here. I don't have to have like a rangefinder or pins or sights or anything like that. That appeals to me. God's given us everything that we need. We're not monkeys, so He's allowed us to have all of the things that we need for good instinctive archery. I'm going to go over 3 of those things today. Before we do that, though, I would like to tell you why I got into instinctive archery. When I was in high school, a buddy of mine, we made tree stands in shop class, and we thought, well, shoot, we'll start shooting jackrabbits out of the tree stands. We didn't make them for any other reason other than just to make the tree stands and have fun doing it and to shoot jackrabbits. So we ended up doing this. We ended up making the tree stands and got up in the trees, and I mean, I would miss every so often. Shooting small game, guys, when you're starting out with traditional bows is the best, because you have to learn when to draw, how to draw. You get busted the same. They're not, as wily as like an elk or a deer, but at the same time, you still have to learn the process of drawing and all those kind of things. Another thing about it that I really like about small game is it's either a hit or miss. So you don't usually wound animals. You either kill them or it doesn't, or you don't hit them. So that's the reason that I like to practice with small game. We were sitting up inside on the tree stands, and we would shoot off the tree stands, and I was hitting quite a few. I wasn't very well versed. I started thinking, man, there's got to be something different to this. I just kind of picked it up and started shooting it there. And about that same time, Traditional Bowhunter magazine came out, and I read some of G. Fred's Ashbell stuff about instinctive shooting, and so I just started taking off from there. But I'll never forget the way that I started hunting big game was my dad and I had drawn a tag, and I thought, well, I'm going to put this thing away. The small game thing, it's pretty great for, but I'm gonna ask for my birthday. I'm gonna ask for a compound, and I'm gonna get one of those compounds, and it'll have sights, and I'll be able to hit a lot more than just with this thing. So we go into fall, that first year bow hunting. Nobody else bow hunted back then. I mean, there was like maybe one other camp in the unit. And so we're out bow hunting, and finally I get a good stock in on a deer, and I pull up and I get ready to pull back, and I'm at full draw, and I get ready to release, and my pin, I don't know, something got banged or something like that inside the rig. My pin just falls, and I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to do from there. So I just let down. I didn't shoot, and because if I don't have a pin to shoot off of or a reference, then I'm done. So I thought, man, I could have shot that deer with my recurve. If I was hitting jackrabbits at 25, 30 yards, I could hit that deer. So I started thinking, why am I carrying this compound? Why I don't shoot a compound is I went back, picked up the recurve, and found success with it, and then decided I don't really need a compound. I could certainly see the advantages of compound bows now. I mean, being able to hold for a while until that bull gets to the right shooting lane is invaluable. But at the same time, the recurve is that simplistic tool that you can take out and you can still do it with. Okay, now 3 tips to help your instinctive archery come along a lot faster. This took me years to figure out. Hopefully with this video I can help you guys, that learning curve go away. So 3 tips. Tip number one is before you even start shooting at a target at any distance, get your mechanics down. So what that means is find good form and hold that good form. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to shoot my form, because my form is different than other people's form. There's a lot of guys out there that have a certain form that they want you to shoot by, you know, and that works for them. There's probably some things that I do wrong in my form that would help me if I didn't do them, but I'm so far along in this now that if I change up my stuff, and I'm not trying to be an Olympic shooter here, you know, when you start talking those 50-yard ranges and things like that some of these guys are shooting, it's a big deal. But at 25 yards, it's a lot less of a deal, the way the geometry works. So if I could hold it within, you know, about a 4 or 5 inch group at 25 yards, I'm going to kill every elk that I shoot at. So that's what I'm after. And so the first thing that you want to do is you want to find a form that is good, but it's got to be consistent. And that's the biggest thing about all your form, is your consistency. And form is just means the way that you draw your bow and the way that you release it. So it's got to be consistent all the way through. The first thing that you want to make sure is you get a bow that actually fits your hand. That's probably the most important thing for me. That's why I shoot the recurves, the 50 style recurves, is because they have a longbow style grip on them, and that's the way that I like to shoot. Is I like to shoot longbows, other than the fact that longbows are long. So I shoot a recurve because I can have a short bow yet, and then the 50 style you still have the longbow type riser. So first thing you want to do is find a bow that you can put your hand on every time. And I'm not talking about something you have to consciously find the spot where it goes. A good bowyer can make it to where you engage that bow at the same spot every time. Some bows fit you, some bows don't. That's why when people come on and I get questions all the time. What's the best bow? Well, the best bow is the one that you shoot the best. There is no best bow out there. So you have to have a bow that fits your bow hand. Wade's bows do that for me. That's why I shoot them so well. That's why I love them. The next thing is your bow arm. Now, some people say lock it. Some people say don't lock it. I don't lock mine. When you get your muscle memory started, you want to make sure that it's something that you can keep consistent. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you how to do it for you, because what you're going to do is completely different than what I'm going to do. This stuff that I do is to keep me consistently shooting at animals under 20 yards. So first thing is have your bow arm straight. Mine knows where it's at. My muscle memory's been doing this for so many years that it knows where it's at. And then you bring the bow, you bring your anchor back to the same spot every time. Use the knuckle, the bony part of your knuckle, to the bony part of my cheekbone, and then I put my finger in the corner of my mouth. Now, if you do that, your draw is going to be consistent every time. So as you're here, your draw is always going to be exactly the same every time, within reason exactly the same every time. Now remember, with any kind of traditional bow, the amount that it's pulled back, if I shoot a bow at this draw, it's not going to have the same velocity as if I shoot the bow at this draw. So what I like to do with it is I'll pull it back, and then I just keep pulling through with my back muscles, not with my shoulder, with my back muscle, and then as I kind of come into that stack spot, that's when I let go and everything just releases. So that's the first thing, is consistency. Before you shoot any kind of distance at all, make sure you get your consistency down. All right, so tip number 2 is once you get your form down, shoot into a target really close and get that. Once you feel like that's where you're supposed to be, shoot into that target to where you start getting the muscle memory. Before you ever go back any further, Get that muscle memory down. I don't care if you have to shoot 200, 300 arrows here. Make sure you get that muscle memory. Concentrate on doing everything exactly the same every time. And you want to do that really close. So you're doing it like within 10 feet of your target. Just all you're worrying about is form right now. Just form. You're not worrying about anything but form. So make sure that you're just pulling back, you're anchoring, and you're pulling through exactly the same as you always do. Don't worry about where you're hitting the target. Just pull through that, and you're trying to get your form. This is tip number 2. So you just want to make sure that everything's exactly the same. That's tip 2. All right, so tip number 3 is concentration. Tip number 3 is concentration. Once you have your form down, you've shot a bunch of times close into a target, and you got to where you're feeling like your system is consistent, then now you start worrying about concentration. If you can't concentrate on what you're trying to hit, your instinctive, your brain will not take over. Just aiming take over. Okay, those are the 3 tips that'll help you right now get your instinctive archery game stepped up a little bit. First tip, make sure you're consistent in your form. Second tip is solidify that form by shooting into a target close by. And third tip is get your concentration down. And those 3 drills that I showed you will help you do that. I hope you guys like this stuff. Please subscribe and then hit that bell. If you guys want to see more of this stuff comes out, hit that bell and you'll get notified when we put more videos out. Until then, you guys, thanks a bunch. Visit us on barebowhunters.com or go over to the Barebow Hunter Facebook group. But thanks a lot, guys. Take care.